This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, across Europe on Radio X and on satellite with our, what do they call it? Our identifier, Craig? XZBN Radio TV. My guest this hour is Richard Gordon. He is founder of Quantum Touch organization. He's a visionary and a pioneer with 40 years of experience in the field of energy medicine. Richard is the best-selling author of Quantum Touch, The Power to Heal, now published in 17 languages, and Your Healing Hands, The Polarity Experience, available in 10 languages. While attending Christus School of Natural Healing in Taos, New Mexico in the 1970s, Richard discovered the power of working with energies and hands-on healing. This work led to a wide range of further discoveries, and Richard began to explore all energies around his hands. He eventually met an awe-inspiring healer named Bob Rasmussen, who had an extraordinary ability to heal people's bodies with his hands. Richard began apprenticing with him, and this is how his work was born. Richard founded the Quantum Touch organization more than 16 years ago. The organization currently has more than 1,000 certified practitioners in 50-plus countries around the globe. Their vision and mission is to help improve the health and quality of life for many people using simple, easy-to-learn energy healing techniques. With his expertise and passion for sharing the messages about hands-on healing, Richard has traveled around the globe to speak at medical centers, conferences, and chiropractic colleges. He was faculty at Heartwood Institute and the Holistic Health Institute. For more information about our guest this hour, www.quantumtouch.com. And Richard Gordon, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
What is energy healing?
What a great question. Energy healing is another way of assisting people to let their body heal at an accelerated pace. And it takes a couple concepts to really get this.
Okay.
First, one of the concepts is the idea of life force energy, that our cells, our body has this energy that works through it. And this energy is not measured by traditional physics. But this has been acknowledged by cultures all around the world. The Chinese call it qi, the yogis call it prana, the Japanese call it ki, and so forth. There's Dr. Beverly Rubik found over 70 words that different cultures use to describe this energy. And this energy can be accelerated, amplified through breathing and body awareness exercises. You see it being used in martial arts, you see it being used in acupuncture and so forth. But we can accelerate this energy. Now, some people, like Wikipedia, like to believe that this is all a placebo. This is all a matter of suggestion. But there's a big difference. First thing is the secret message behind a placebo is the body has an extraordinary ability to heal itself quickly. And that's the subtext of placebos, is the body can heal itself incredibly fast under certain circumstances. But the reason we don't like placebos very much is because we know that it requires deception or dishonesty, and no one likes to be lied to. But energy healing is able to access that self-healing mechanism, but it does it through this life force energetic process, not through deception, but through putting hands over the parts that hurt. We have a technical name for it. It's called the where does it hurt technique. Mm-hmm. You put your hands over the areas, you sandwich the areas that a person is having problems, you do the breathing and body awareness exercises. And what happens, this may be a little bit of a metaphor, but we call it resonance and entrainment. When two things vibrate at different frequencies, mm-hmm. either the lower frequency comes up to match the high one comes down to match the low one, or they meet in the middle. With energy healing the way we do it, we continually raise our vibration through the breathing and body awareness exercises.
Right.
And then the other person comes up to match your energy. Then the body and spiritual intelligence does the healing it wants to do. And then somebody says, you healed me, but you didn't. Their body healed itself.
Gotcha. Rich, we have to take a break. Please stand by. Exonation Richard Gordon is our guest this hour. www.quantumtouch.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Welcome back, everyone. Richard Gordon is our special guest. www.quantumtouch.com. Richard, it sounds like all this makes perfect sense. So why is there so much skepticism about healing touch or quantum touch?
Well, the reason the skepticism exists is because of a massive schism in the culture between the materialists, who believe that everything that's real must have a physical basis. You can weigh it, measure it, or put it into a mathematical formula.
Right.
And those who say, no, there are spiritual realities that are maybe more real than the physical. But because some people can't acknowledge that that's a possibility, it has to all be thrown out all at one time. This is why Rupert Sheldrake's TED Talk got taken down. He had a beautiful talk on TED. You could look it up. It got put up and millions of hits since it got taken down. But he was saying that science makes a series of assumptions about reality. And one of the assumptions is that everything has a physical reality. Another assumption is that energy healing doesn't work. Another assumption is not everything can be weighed and measured, and that modern medicine is the only solution. These are some of the assumptions that science has made. And it's dogma that gets passed down, as he calls it, through a form of intellectual osmosis from, professor to student.
Well, let me ask you this, Richard.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If this quantum touch has been around for as long as people say it has been around, prior, before traditional medicine, then why did traditional medicine become so popular and quantum touch fade out?
Well, it never was. Quantum touch was sort of begun in about 1950, and it was just one man doing sessions. He had invented the technique himself.
But I
went to his very first workshop.
We've also heard about
1978.
healing touch, the laying of hands.
Oh, healing touch, that's a whole different thing. And the healing touch work is so different than quantum touch, it's almost in a different category.
Okay, how is it different? Because a lot of our listeners have heard about healing touch and the laying of hands.
Yeah, first off, it doesn't involve touch. You have your hands floating over the person. There's no breathing, no body awareness exercise is necessary, and it requires a lot of sensation to be able to determine what's happening, and people wave their arms. And frankly, it has had a lot of research, but the research hasn't been very strong. It's actually done a little bit, and Dolores Krieger of New York University was a big proponent of it. It's a lot of studies on it, but we've only had a few studies of quantum touch, and the studies we have are incredibly robust and overwhelmingly positive.
But the research that you have done, have they been done in the same manner that traditional medical research would be done?
Yeah, we have an IRB, goes through the investigation review board as a regular, and we just did a study a few months ago that's being written up right now for publication. And what we saw was we had 41 patients with 50 different pain conditions. Most of the people suffering from fibromyalgia, various forms of arthritis, or from accidents. Everybody had a high level of pain to be included into the study.
Right.
They all received one single quantum touch session. The average pain relief was 67.4%.
So are you saying that quantum touch can help with the present day opiate crisis that we're seeing?
I think it is certainly one of the tools that can be utilized because it can relieve the pain, relieve the craving. It doesn't necessarily the whole answer. Part of the answer is illegal in the United States. It's called ibogaine. And in a single session, I've personally observed that this is true. You can get people who are severely craving opiates, and it resets the opiate receptors. There's a place in Mexico called Crossroads Treatment Center, or something very close to that, Crossroads, in Tijuana, and they provide ibogaine, and that would be a solution that's very, very rapid. They have people there for about a week, and it resets the opiate receptors, and it's legal, I believe, in Canada and Mexico and many other countries, but not in the United States where it's needed the most.
Why is it illegal in the United States?
It's too much money to be made, unfortunately, I believe, from the traditional methods of working with people. It's not a pleasant treatment either for people, and it's not a recreational thing anybody's going to want to do.
Right.
And it is a little bit dangerous for people who are extremely sick or have bad hearts. But under proper medical care next to a hospital, it's an extraordinary treatment. But quantum touch is a solution that can be helpful, but I don't think it's the best solution or the only solution that would work for opioid addiction.
So should quantum touch be used with traditional Western medicine?
Absolutely. And so, for instance, I heard a lot of reports about people receiving quantum touch in conjunction with chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And what we saw was that it took much longer before a person's hair ran out. It restored their appetite. They had really good results because the body was able to tolerate the chemo far better when the energy system was working better. And so, there's so much room for quantum touch to be considered complementary because it doesn't replace everything, but it's an extraordinary tool that ought to be included along with other modalities.
Well, with everything that is going on within the medical community today, I don't see why quantum touch isn't included or isn't offered to people.
It's just not known. They don't know that it exists. That's the main reason.
So how do you get it known? How do you get it out there? I
was thinking if I get on this really cool radio show that's broadcast across Europe, maybe people would hear about it.
Well, you see, the way radio works is it's consistency. Just because you get on a show like ours that has an international listening audience doesn't mean people are going to jump to the phone after the interview's over and call up.
I totally agree.
It's consistency. It's consistency. The people need to hear the message over and over and over again. But I'm looking at your bio, and with 40 years of experience in the field of energy medicine, you would have thought that you yourself would have made enough inroads where quantum touch would be considered by the medical community to be something that would work hand in hand, especially if you're telling me that the people, God bless them, who have cancer and who are undergoing chemotherapy, they keep their hair a little longer. Their appetites increase. Who cares?
So here's the thing. You get the letter from the doctor who says, this is the most amazing thing. I use it on all my cancer patients. It boosts their spirit. It takes away their pain. It does this. He lists like 10 things that it benefits them, but he tells the next doctor down the hall, and they don't want to hear anything about it because it violates their primary assumptions about reality. The cognitive dissonance must be overwhelming. To accept that this is real changes a paradigm.
So how do naturopathic doctors get away with it then?
Well, the naturopathic doctors we just haven't seen people jumping to what we got, but we hadn't been doing the research either. Now we are doing research. We just ran another study a couple weeks ago, and we're going to repeat it. Now, it was a preliminary study. We got spectacular results, and we're going to repeat it with much tighter controls. And because it's good enough, the first study we did was good enough to be published, but we're going to repeat it because the results that we got, frankly, to an uninitiated person would seem unbelievable.
Since your treatment does not need FDA approval, what's the holdback?
Just resistance. That's the only thing. And invisibility and resistance, that's the only thing that's holding us back, really.
Would quantum touch be accessible to people who use health insurance? Or would they have to pay for the quantum touch out of their pockets?
They'd probably have to pay out of their pockets because it's not considered a real therapy. It's not accepted. Wikipedia has brands every single alternative, even naturopathy, acupuncture, quantum touch, you name it. They're all called pseudoscience, according to Wikipedia.
Well, legally,
even
that's
chiropractic.
Well, isn't that what the legal definition would be? Pseudoscience?
Well,
because it's not an established science. It's not a medical procedure. It's not recognized by the medical community, so it would be a pseudoscience.
Everything starts as something people don't understand before it's understood.
I agree.
Everything begins outside the box before it gets inside the box.
But it's up to
and
the
we're
people.
We're working our way in. That's all.
It's up to the people who are doing the research and who are promoting the cure to make sure that it does get past the pseudoscience label.
I agree.
Yeah.
And this is why we're doing the double blinds. This is why we're doing the publishable studies that are happening now. And my business partner and I were kind of at odds with each other. Now we're on the same team, and we're going to get study after study done. But the new research, and my excitement about it is not just that we're going to be able to publish something medically useful. My interest is in changing the very foundation of belief about reality.
How is that going to change the current belief in reality?
Because as long as people don't believe that the life force energy exists and that they believe that the mind is confined to the brain, that the mind is a physical thing inside the head, electromagnetic, electrochemical thing, they won't look at the other solutions. And I have devised a simple experiment that allows us to do things that I would not have believed were possible just 16 months ago.
Well, I've talked to many people over the 26 years of doing this show who believe in the electromagnetic field around the body. In fact, science will concur to that.
Of course.
You've got
Of course. I do. Everybody knows the body's electrochemical.
Sure.
That's no question about that. That's not what I'm talking about.
All right. So what is it?
Okay, remember I talked about the life force energy at the beginning, that chi, the ki, the prana?
Yeah.
I discovered that you can put energy and intention in the form of life force energy into physical objects. And you can test those objects by having them do something physiologically to a person that's considered impossible. And that is a very small window, a little tiny peek hole to look through. I found that I can help people untwist their own pelvic and occipital torsion in a couple seconds. If I put consciousness into a physical object and just touch them with it with any intent, or you give it to another person to touch them with that object, it will permanently untwist the cranial bones and the hips simultaneously, and it'll do it for the rest of their life. While a chiropractor uses force and they have to come back every week, this will be just one touch and it's done. So we created an experiment, a double blind, where people are tapped with an object.
All right, hold on here. We're going to have a cliffhanger because I have to take my news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, Richard Gordon is our guest. www.quantumtouch.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Don't forget, May the 1st, the X-Zone TV channel hits the airwaves right around the world. And we're really excited about that. To find out all about the great programming we have available on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. We'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.
Dreams are our personal gateways into infinite wisdom. Don't miss shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Corcoran's inspiring book, Shamanic Awakening Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles Sandra's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers and her initiations throughout the Americas and across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt. Sandy's knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private tarot readings, international journeys, a meditative CD, as well as her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate this earth walk, creating a deeper connection to yourself and all that is. Find this and more at Sandy's website, starwalkervisions.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
Exonation, and Richard Gordon is our special guest, www.quantumtouch.com. Rich, before we went to the commercial break, you were telling us about a double-blind experiment that you guys did.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. We've got two people, each holding a coin.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is holding a charged coin that has the energy and intention of untwisting pelvic and occipital torsion. The other is holding just a plain quarter. They're both American quarters. And they don't know which coin is which. And then I can't see these people. And when people come to be measured using a laser measuring device to see how high their hip is, we measure them repeatedly, stepping on and off a certain spot where they're standing. We take a lot of readings, and then when the people come back after they've been tapped with a coin, we measure them again. And what we saw was that when people, we have a little margin of error because we're not perfect at measuring every time, but we're really close. We're within 2.5 millimeters of being accurate in the controls. So we were just off a little tiny bit in the controls. But when the actual test happened, people were off almost exactly 9 millimeters. And so what we saw was that when they were tapped with the charged object, they moved a lot. And when they were tapped with a object that didn't have consciousness within it, they barely moved. Well, the only movement was our margin of error of trying to measure exactly the same every time. This is the foundation, an upcoming book called The Secret Nature of Matter.
Okay, so how do you put the intention in the article, in the item?
Well, you use the same skills that you use with a basic quantum touch session, and you use your intention while you're doing it. So we use the breathing and body awareness exercises. We focus perhaps our heart chakra into the physical object and place that energy intention into the object. And so what I found was that all matter, whether it's rubber, plastic, metal, pebble, anything, all matter holds consciousness equally. So everything works. I could have done it with any kind of object whatsoever. And I ran 58 unique experiments to find out what the parameters were of consciousness in objects.
How does this differ from the laying of hands and praying using the laying of hands?
Well, laying of hands is what we've been doing with quantum touch for a long time, but you can also send energy in terms of the differentiation of prayer and this, there's different kinds of prayer, so that's a little bit trickier.
Well, prayer is based on a personal preference.
But some people ask God to do something, and some people are sending their love for the effect. What was found in prayer research was the people who were asking God to do it, their prayers weren't generally as dramatic as when they were just sending their love and gratitude toward the person and just, I love you, and that's what they called prayer.
Could this be
loving them and sending that energetic? But what we're doing is there's a method of using breathing in conjunction with body awareness. And so back in 1978, when I studied with Bob Rasmussen, the very first thing I saw him do, my girlfriend had a major scoliosis, and he put his hands on her hips, and the hips rolled back into alignment, and then he worked on the occiput, and the cranial bones moved, and I was beyond belief. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought no one else was ever going to learn it. Certainly I'm not. But I apprenticed with him, and I took over in his retirement, and I discovered how to do this myself. And it was really possible. Then I taught thousands of people around the world. Then in this year, I discovered that I could actually put it into a physical object and then entangle these objects together in my mind. So anything that happens to any one of these objects happens to all of the objects. That was experiment 38. That was the mind blower of them all, was to discover that they can be joined together.
I'm having a bit of a problem here differentiating between the difference of, whether a person says a prayer to God or if a person sends, something, and the laying of hands to what you're doing.
Okay, what we're doing is we're focusing our love and intent like a person might do during prayer, but we're combining it with breathing and body awareness. So we're working the whole time doing deep breathing and body awareness.
And we all know that deep breathing works. We all know this.
Yes. We know that it works in changing your own physiology, but what's new is that we can use it to assist someone else to change their physiology right on the spot. That's how we brought the pain down so quickly.
Okay, so basically, once again, I have to ask you what the difference is between the power of the healing hands. I've seen nurses use this in hospitals. You know, I've seen mothers do this with their children. Now, just calm down, breathe, everything's going to be okay. Mommy kiss or daddy kiss. Bang, it's a miracle.
Okay, but here's the deal. We're not asking the client to breathe. The practitioner is doing the breathing. And we're able to see phenomena that hasn't been documented or reported with traditional prayer or laying on of hands.
You haven't seen, and I think this is the key word here. You haven't seen. When it comes to the other modalities of touch therapy, you know, how much research have you guys done into it?
We've had tens of thousands of people taking our course, and the constant report we have is they've never encountered a modality that works so easily and effectively that they could learn so quickly.
All right, if you've
had
had
it wasn't like a formal study. This is what the people taking the workshops tell us.
Okay, if you've had tens of thousands of people take your course, I'm using your words here.
Yeah.
How come this isn't being utilized all over the world?
It actually is. We're in over 50 countries.
All right, so why isn't mainstream medicine using it then?
Just too early. Too early in the time scale. That's all. We haven't hit our peak yet. We're just getting more visibility these days. It's growing very quickly, but we're actually growing faster now than we ever have in the past. You just talking to me 5 years early. That's all.
So why would I go and see a person who's a practitioner who uses quantum touch, and it's going to cost me money out of my pocket instead of going to my doctor? Where my provincial medical plan it doesn't cost me anything because I'm in Ontario and we have OHIP. I go to my family doctor, he takes care of me. It doesn't cost me anything. I go to an alternative practitioner, whether it's chiropractor, whether it's acupuncture, whether I have to pay for it.
Of course. Well, we're not suggesting people don't go to their doctor. That's the first point. The second point is there are limits to what traditional medicine is capable of doing. And that's where we shine, because we show people phenomenon that they had not seen. That's why we got the 67.4% reduction in pain. And these are people who are already being treated by their doctors. And we were able to be more effective more quickly.
So what ailments or what diseases will quantum touch alleviate, take care of, destroy?
Well, we help the person accelerate their own healing process. We don't treat specific diseases. We help the body to be in a healthier position to do its own self-healing, because we believe that all healing is a function of self-healing. We don't call ourselves healers.
Right.
We say the definition of a healer was someone who was sick and got well, and a great healer, someone very sick who got well quickly. But to answer your question, we don't know the limits of what's possible here. And until we do really deep double-blind studies, we won't be able to say with any absolute clarity what works and what doesn't work. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
We've had reports of everything from Parkinson's to all kinds of diseases, and we don't know where the limits are. We've seen some things are more difficult to work with others. I mean, the migraines, the pain, taking people's pain away when they get a root canal, whatever it is. We see wide range of things happening, but because it's so generalized, the next study we're going to do is going to be looking for the inflammatory factors of people in extreme pain with high levels of inflammation. We're probably going to focus on rheumatoid arthritis for this next study. And we're going to look for is the generalized marker, which is the C-reactive proteins in the inflammation. And what we want to show is not just that we're bringing down the pain, because a lot of things can do that. We're going to show that we're also bringing down the inflammation. Because when I did a study at the men's basketball team at the University of California, Santa Cruz, we saw that an average 10-minute session was reducing their pain by 50%.
Wow.
Was signed off by the coach. It was a very simple thing. And we're much better than that now. That was done 20 years ago. But it got ignored. When I showed it around endlessly, and it just got ignored because, and by the way, I heard from two different people that there's a baseball team and a football team using quantum touch, but they won't tell the other teams that they're doing it. They won't tell me that they're doing it because it's their secret weapon.
I'm listening to you and I'm saying, wow, on one hand.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm saying, well, wait a minute. There's got to be something wrong here. If the media's not all over this, if the medical community's not all over this, my God, in a day where everybody's complaining about health insurance, this would bring down the cost of health insurance tremendously. What am I missing
here?
Who
would pay for that? Who wants to have their money go away? Why would they want a solution that doesn't cost much money? Maybe the populace does, but you're absolutely right. But I encourage people, be as skeptical as you like. You don't have to believe in the ocean, but you got to jump in. You're going to get wet. And I suggest this is self-evident. But until we got more research, we've repeated the inflammatory studies and inflammation studies, and we've repeated these things over and over again. And I'm in touch now with Dr. Dean Radin of Noetic Science and Gary Schwartz of the University of Arizona, and they're looking over my latest research, and they're having me do it again and again. And then they're going to try to repeat it, and they're going to try to make it fail. And if it fails at failing, then they're going to get all over it. And all of a sudden, you're going to start hearing about this stuff. But we're in the early stages of research because we recognize we're not going to get traction until we do the research.
Can I ask
and
you a question?
What you're talking about is traction.
We're running out of time for this segment. But how can you then teach people how to do this if you haven't done the research to see what makes it tick? Like, aren't you putting the horse before the buggy before the horse in this case?
Well, we know it ticks because we see results better than 90% of the time. It continues to work. So that's just self-evident. And I can teach people very easily. It's probably the easiest skill there is to learn.
All right, we've got to take our final break. Please stand. We've got to take our final break. Please stand by. Exonation.
Okay, sure.
Our guest is Richard Gordon, and we're talking about Quantum Touch. His website is www.quantumtouch.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone, coming to you around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting this sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Exonation, Richard Gordon is our guest, www.quantumtouch.com. You've trained tens of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. You obviously have a track record of success.
Yeah.
You're doing double-blind studies to get it approved by the medical associations and the professional standards. Why don't you, if you're having problems proving it to the medical community that it really works, why not walk into a hospital and start curing people?
It's not my job.
What is your job then?
My job is to teach people who want to learn and to get the research out. I can't walk into somebody else's facility and start working on the clients. That would be unethical and weird.
But what happens if you went to...
Besides, first off, I don't cure anybody. I'm trying to explain this to you. I help them have their system work more efficiently. And I don't believe in a one-dimensional treatment either. People who are really sick need to handle all issues of their life, from the emotional, the nutritional, and lifestyle, and all the rest. I don't have some magic that's going to take care of everything. I have some solutions that work incredibly well.
Okay, I understand. It's the person who heals himself, basically.
Of course.
Okay. How long does it take you to teach someone this quantum touch system?
A weekend is enough time for a person to start becoming extremely effective.
Wow.
And so we have weekend workshops, and we generally see the pain and levels in the workshops go down about 60 or 70% in the course of the weekend training. And our fastest growing part of the world is Hong Kong and Macau right now, and parts of China, because they know that Qigong is real, but they don't want to spend 30 or 40 years to become a Qigong master. And we're growing exponentially fast over there, and they're helping us to fund our research over here.
So how much would it cost for a weekend for someone to learn how to do quantum touch or quantum touch?
I think about $300. I haven't checked the prices lately, but it's something like that.
So if you've got 10,000, if you've taught 10,000 people, tens of thousand people to use this, man, that's a lot of money you guys have made on this.
Well, we don't make all that much money, because what happens is we let the teachers keep the money, and they have to organize the seminars, and they put on the seminars, and we get a percentage of that money, but we don't get the vast majority of it when we teach, when the workshops are being taught.
So do your practitioners have to be licensed by any state or any municipality for anything they do?
We certify them, and they have a code of ethics and all the rest, but there is no state that acknowledges the reality of what we're doing yet. We're on the cutting edge, so we have to start where we are.
So basically, you're just reinventing the wheel at this point?
Pretty much. Yeah. Until it's done, people don't believe that it's possible, and then when you do it, then they can see that it's actually there. So we're starting at the beginning, and we're building. But this research is going to go a long way to getting us some visibility.
If you're successful, do you have any fears that Big Pharma might come down on you like a ton of bricks?
Well, here's the deal. What are they going to do? Outlaw breathing? Outlaw putting your hands on somebody with love? That's ridiculous. And my books are in 17 languages. What are they going to do? Burn them all? What are they? This is a basic human ability. They can't take it away.
Then if this is a basic human ability, why are you having so much problem proving it through research?
We're not having any trouble proving it through research. We're just starting our research in earnest. So we're just getting going now. And, we did the pain study recently. We're starting an inflammation study. We're doing a study on consciousness and matter. These are the three studies that we're focusing on. We're going to do the inflammation study as being the big one, because if that one is successful, everything will follow. We'll have to. There's a university of California that's interested in repeating our experiment once we do it, and once we get a University of California who publishes the study for the second time with good results, then we're going to be on the map, and you won't have to be so skeptical, because you'll see it published by this is the University of California, San Diego, that's interested. So we're just in an early stage of getting research done, but we've been doing all the other stuff over the years other than the research. Now we're serious about getting the research done too.
How do you think the medical community is going to react?
Well, it's going to be a mixed bag, because those who are really excited to see a complementary, non-invasive, non-dangerous methodology that can accelerate their own successes, they'll be very happy about it. And for those who don't, I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay.
A nurse was giving quantum touch sessions post-surgically, and the doctor came by and said, "You have to stop doing that." And she said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we can no longer predict how much pain medication to give the patients." And so he wasn't going to let her do any more of the healing sessions, because some people didn't need any pain medication and some people needed a fraction, and he had to think it through, and that made the hospital less money because they were selling less pain medication. So you tell me, where is the line here? We're just doing our best to put something out that works.
All right.
And we know we're going to hit resistance, but we're just doing what we can.
But what about doctors? Do any doctors practice quantum touch?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we have doctors all around the world who are utilizing it. But one doctor in Los Angeles, he had me come into his office and he had me work on some of his, he was a cardiologist, but he had patients with tremendous pain. I was just working, taking the pain away one after another. And he got so excited he wanted to open up a holistic clinic featuring quantum touch inside his hospital. And he talked to the other doctors and they just shut him down. They said, no, that's ridiculous. That's just a stupid. He was the head of the cardiology department, for God's sake. And they would say, just said no. Just that was the answer to his question. No, you're not allowed to do that here. That's ridiculous. Because we live in a time not unlike Galileo 400 years ago exactly right now, where I'm showing somebody something through a telescope and it violates the church's understanding of what reality is. And so, of course, we're going to hit the cognitive dissonance and the disbelief. Of course we are. But that comes with the territory, and it makes the job fun.
So why don't you guys open up your own metaphysical clinic?
We're focused more on the training of practitioners and instructors, getting it out there on a widest scale, and now the research. But we just haven't really focused on that side of it. We're focused on the education and dissemination of the work primarily.
Does an instructor pay the same amount that a person would pay, the $300 for the course, or would an instructor pay more because he's going to get certified?
Well, they're taking more courses. They're taking an advanced course as well, and so they're paying more. And yeah, it costs more, but they're getting more training.
But wouldn't the training be the same as the course that the guy took for $300? Like, isn't quantum touch?
There's some advanced skills that the instructors also have.
So you don't give the same skills to the guy who pays $300, but you give the advanced skills to the instructor.
Why would you say that? That's absurd.
No,
I teach people extraordinary skills on the first day. It's just not like you can teach everything in 2 days. I mean, what course can you learn everything in 2 days? That's silly.
I mean, if you're telling me that after a 2-day course, people can help themselves heal and help others to heal.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, what's the difference between what they're doing and what the instructors will be doing? That's all I'm saying.
You can be even more effective. That's all.
But if you're saying there's two different levels of healing, I don't think that's very fair to the guy who's paying $300 because he's not an instructor. He's not getting the advanced course of healing.
You know, this is a funny argument. I don't relate to it because nobody's ever walked out of the workshop with skepticism intact. Everybody's been thrilled with this class because they have learned some real powerful skills that they can use in their life right now. But if you want to go further, you can take an advanced course. That's all.
But what would the person in the weekend not get that the advanced course would get? How to heal people faster? Or how to help people?
Well, yeah, there's faster ways where you can work with more power. I wrote another book called Quantum Touch 2.0, The New Human, showing how we can work off the body at any distance. So, for instance, a practitioner could work on multiple parts of their body simultaneously. They could work, like while they're putting their hands on a person's neck, they can work on the sprained toe simultaneously. And we can do a series of things. That's where I discovered that I could untwist pelvic and occipital torsion without touching people. In that, and I wrote about that in I think it was chapter 19 of my book, Quantum Touch 2.0. And then I utilized that information for my new book, The Secret Nature of Matter.
All right, we've got to say so long for now because we're out of time. Exo Nation, I don't get it. People are paying $300 for a weekend, but they don't get all the training. They don't get the advanced. If you want that, you have to become an instructor and pay more. Does that sound fair to you? It doesn't certainly sound fair to me. It kind of says, well, you know what? We're not making the $300 on the course, so we'll make the $300 on the instructor. Something doesn't sound right here, and if it doesn't sound right, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then you know what, Exo Nation? It is a duck. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away.